Okay, I'm live. This is my first YouTube live. Would you like to jump up, Rita? I'm here with Rita. Up. Come on. There she goes. Hey. It's Rita. Hey. Anyway, today is day 2 of quarantine. Today is Sunday, March 22nd. And yeah, stuff's happening. The plot continues to unfold. My main adventure for today was I unexpectedly left the house, which isn't technically breaking quarantine because I was in the car the whole time. My roommate needed a ride to pick her car up from getting repaired, so I gave her a ride. It was either that or she'd have to take the bus, which is obviously a bigger risk for exposure to both of us. I mean, if she gets it, I get it. And so I figure we already live together. She sat in the back seat on the other side, just trying to keep like a little bit of a buffer. But anyway, I gave her a ride, and on the way back, I drove through downtown. I heard that they had been, boarding up downtown. Well, I heard they boarded up 6th Street, which they did. Like, basically every business has plywood covering the windows. Certainly the ones that have the kind of windows you can do that too. And but it's not just 6th Street. It's like pretty much all of downtown and East 6th Street. I saw as I was coming back. Certainly anything that's just a bar, as opposed to also a restaurant, because the restaurants are trying to stay open, doing to-go stuff and delivery. So let me think. What else is going on? Oh yeah, actually, the other thing I was going to mention is that there was a lot more traffic than I was expecting. Honestly, when I was doing my concluding business in the outside world errands last week, it was pretty empty. There was possibly for a Sunday as much or a little more traffic than there was on the weekend. On the weekdays. And I think that maybe that is people who are still working or who otherwise just it hasn't sunk in yet, are realizing like, oh man, clock is ticking until lockdown comes to Austin. So I think people were just trying to make use of the weekend to get errands run. But it was still like pretty empty, considering like our roads are normally clogged with traffic. What is it, Rita? She's adorable. Here, let me see. Rita, do you want to jump up? Here's a treat. She's a little camera shy. Hey, Rita, do you want a treat? Come on over. By the way, before I go too much further into everything, oh, here she comes. Here she comes. Jump up. Oh, there we go. This is a very famous piece of art in Queer Austin. This is, it used to be at the Q Austin, back when they were right on, I guess, Medical Arts, right off of UT. They had really fun art on the walls, and they sold it all at a just amazingly cheap prices when they had a yard sale right when they were moving. And I'm happy to say I bought pretty much all of the really awesome art that the Q had on their walls. So they're off of Springdale and Airport now. But anyway, yeah. So anyone who was missing that piece of art, it is in good hands. And if you're seeing it for the first time, by all means, please enjoy. I love that a lot. But anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, and then I was so busy doing the recap yesterday that I didn't get to I guess my outing yesterday, because I am self-quarantining, but the CDC is encouraging people to go for walks, provided that they stay 6 feet away from each other, because it's healthy to walk. You're not likely to catch it outside, and it's just also good for mental health. But I made the mistake of doing I live very close to the river, so there's a little stretch of the Town Lake Hike and Bike Trail that I hit that's usually wide open, but I just totally failed to do the math that first of all, yesterday was a Saturday, and second of all, that we're going to be a whole lot of people who, like I was saying a minute ago, have been working during the week, so this is their first time like being out in the world in the new reality. And the short version is there are definitely some people who definitely have not absorbed the social distancing messaging at all. Bicyclists were the worst. So many bicyclists just like whizzed like right by me. I mean, it would have been uncool just for safety reasons under normal circumstances, but yeah, they were just right there. And to a lesser extent, it was true with other people on the path, although luckily the paths in most places was large enough I could avoid them. But I mean, honestly, even if I were to go there next weekend, which now that I've made the mental note, just don't go on the weekends, I probably won't. But I imagine like it's going to be sinking in. Other stuff in terms of, I mean, I would say most people are genuinely getting things, but at the same time, I've seen some live streamed drag performances from clubs that would normally have drag shows. And I mean, it's positive. It's just like lift people's spirits and to try and get the queens some money while people can Venmo them tips if they're enjoying the live stream. But oh my god, they were so close to each other. And because right now the law of the land is that you can have gatherings of no more than 10 people, and but they still encourage social distancing, which is 6 feet, within that context. And I don't know, I guess people just sort of feel like, oh, there's less than 10 people, we're observing things, we're being safe. And I don't know, it'll set in, I think, much sooner than later. And luckily we're still in the pretty early stages of this, so there's a little leeway for people to develop a learning curve. But I think from here on out we probably need to see primarily living room and bedroom drag performances. But I mean, just live streaming for a club is fine. Just have a broad, wide angle shot, and don't stand right next to each other while you're performing or hosting. But people will figure it out. I mean, I'm certainly not criticizing, because it's a very rapidly developing situation. People are scared. They're trying to, make this last opportunity to earn money for a lot of people. And a lot of people are very freaked out, and watching a drag show kind of brings a sense of normalcy. So I don't know. Hopefully that'll work out. Let's see. Stuff that's going on. Just in the larger world, New York City has asked Trump to deploy the military. That's to assist with medical efforts. But honestly, there have been a lot of hints of martial law, and I don't know where this is going in the big picture. Also, Rand Paul is now the first person in the Senate to test positive for coronavirus. 2 people in Congress were announced yesterday. And to top it off, he apparently went to the the Senate gym this morning before he had the results. Why? I thought they had closed all the gyms, honestly. I don't know why their gym was open. And if it's true that he was supposed to be self-quarantining, I don't know why he would have gone to that. But that's, well, I mean, it was already on my mind before that, but it is definitely getting to the obvious issue that this is going to start going through government, and a lot of our government is pretty old and pretty male, and for whatever reason, many more men are dying than women. So yeah, I mean, Trump and Pence are both up there. Nancy Pelosi's third in line. an order of succession, and yeah, after that it starts going through the cabinet and everything. I really hope it doesn't get to that, despite the fact that I don't like our current administration. Any individual case is very bad news for all of us, and also I think we might start getting into mass hysteria if you know the president and or the vice president were to die of this. But at the same time, I mean, we are obviously going to have some high profile political deaths and definitely high profile celebrity deaths, as well as just the deaths of people in our own life. I'm really hoping they can get it locked down before it goes too far. But I mean, it's already, people are already dying horrible deaths. So, and just as a weird side note, Harvey Weinstein was just diagnosed today. He's at Rikers. If you're watching this way in the future, he was only recently transferred to Rikers Island. He was only convicted about, I don't know, or sentenced like 2 weeks ago. And it's not funny. There are a lot of people having a lot of schadenfreude, but having this virus tearing through a prison, apparently there are already like 32 cases at Rikers. That is just going to tear through there. And I don't even want to think about the immigration center camps. I mean, those are just like squalid conditions. There's a lot of concerns there. Also, New York City is up to 8,000 cases now. I have a feeling that, this is sort of like the early days of the HIV crisis where, people are like, oh, a few thousand people have died, and it is a tragedy, but it's just like, oh my God, there's going to be like millions of infections, So, this is very much the early days of everything. I also saw, like, I guess, speaking of politics, God, Trump had the longest freaking press conference today. I saw like an hour of it, which was painful. I only tuned in because I was trying to catch the NBC nightly news at 5:30. So when I turned it on at 5:30, it looked like he had already been talking for a while, and he talked for an hour. I mean, I guess I should say there were a few other people with him who they were trading out and answering questions. But man, I don't know where that's going. I mean, he's just totally incompetent. And I guess to say that he is lying ascribes motivation. He definitely has a bit of a truth-telling impediment, but I don't know how much of that is him just like, lying means he knows he's lying. He just seems to be an endless fountain of incorrect information. Actually, The Atlantic announced earlier today that they were going to stop covering his briefings just because there was so much misinformation in it that it was harmful to cover what he was saying. Of course, they're more of a long article think piece type news outlet than a quick headlines and updates. But I actually hope other places will start doing that. I mean, we're all used to the self-aggrandizing, and oh my God, he spent a large part of that conference talking about how great he was and how smart he was and all that. But just the level of things he was saying that were just point blank not true. And then, although thankfully I actually didn't hear him say that this conference, although I was only half listening to it, but he keeps calling it the Chinese flu, which is racist and is causing racist attacks on Asian Americans. And I say Asian Americans because anyone who was dumb enough to attack someone over this flu because they are Chinese is not smart enough to know how to tell a Asian Chinese person from any other type of Asian person. And there are people in my life who are experiencing hate from this. I don't know. I feel like he is gonna mess this up on a colossal level, and I just hope that there are enough people around him who will be the, like they keep saying, the adults in the room. I will say, Trump, there was a difference in him. He definitely, I don't know, spoke with more intensity, but I mean, normally he's just spouting a lot of bullshit, but he definitely was speaking like he understands. It is finally like seeped into his brain after months of downplaying this, that something major is going on. And Pence actually seemed pretty together, which was, I guess, a relief. Then again, he caused an HIV outbreak when he was governor of Indiana, so that's not exactly reassuring. But anyway, yeah, I guess we'll see how that goes. I don't know. And then like other weird politicizing things. Ohio just ordered a moratorium on all non medically necessary abortions. Like, really, we gotta bring abortion into it at a time like this. But their rationale is that they're ending all elective surgeries. And but can you imagine forcing someone to be pregnant against their will during a pandemic? And what if that's putting them at greater risk for complications? If they do catch it. I mean, it's just, it's so unconscionable. And I don't know. I think they're actually planning on defying the orders, but we'll have to see. But it's obviously setting the stage for other states to do the same thing. Never miss an opportunity to score cheap political points with your base, even when thousands of people are going to die. And that being born people who are in the world, fully realized people. I don't know. So the last cheerful update. Oh, yes, I think Greg Abbott may be angling for this also, because he put out another statement today. So he's finally taking it really seriously. And he also put out an order to end all elective surgeries. And, God, there was one other thing. What the hell did he say? I can't think what the other restriction was. It was something like, God, I can't remember, but he said that he was, oh, that's right, he was deploying the National Guard, or at least activating them, maybe not deploying them yet. But anyway, he said he wouldn't order people to stay at home just yet. Basically, he's going to just tell people they should, and he won't start legally mandating it unless people won't do it by asking them nicely first. But that's driving me nuts, because at this point, I mean, we already know how this plays out. We can look everywhere else it's been and know that a lockdown, honestly, a nationwide lockdown, is going to be necessary, because if you just have lockdowns in various places, you wind up having this weird patchwork where it can flare up in one place. It's just like trying to play whack-a-mole, I guess. So the longer we put it off, the worse it's going to get before we do it. And I feel like they just have there have to be this many deaths and this many infections before we're willing to move on it. And I think the rest of us are just sort of like, we already know that that's going to happen in the future, so why don't we just prevent the unnecessary deaths and infections? Because just because you don't die from it doesn't mean that you're not permanently harmed by it. So yeah, anyway, God, it's so gloomy. What a gloomy update. I don't know. There's still positive stuff. I'm just having a little trouble focusing on it right now because I think eventually this will be a pretty positive blog. I have a lot of fun stuff planned. I feel like I just need to spend the next few days kind of getting my ducks in a row. And then I'm gonna start. Like I was saying, I moved into this house pretty recently, so I still have like some unpacking to do, and I really look forward to that. And getting some art up on the walls. Very glad to have this art up on the wall. I am going to definitely do some at-home drag performances from my bedroom and living room, and have some fun with that, and just I don't know, practice my makeup skills, practice dancing, read. I think it'll be good. Oh, do you want to jump up? She looks like she wanted to jump up. Come on, Rita. Jump up. Oh, maybe she feels like it's not her idea anymore. Let's try grabbing her. Come on, Rita. Jump up. Up. Oh, she likes that. Want a treat? Jump up. Oh, there we go. There we go. Come on. Oh, was that good? Yeah, and I'll keep Rita around. I'm going to try and get her in every video because we all love Rita. Here, one more. Here you go. Oh. Anyway, so I guess that's it for right now. Thanks for tuning in. I will definitely try and work to make it a little more positive in the future. But yeah, this is the initial part where you're wondering how long is it going to take people to figure out, the people in power to figure out what's going on, as well as the people on the ground who really need to get the stay home, or at least stay 6 feet away from everyone if you go out. But I think on the whole, this is going the right way. I mean, I feel like society as a whole is taking this very seriously. I feel like politicians on the whole are taking this very seriously. I honestly see more unity right now than I ever have. It's just like I feel like a lot of partisanship is really dissolving, and like people are definitely putting their personal differences aside, and that's good too. So on that happy note, I guess I'm going to end it right here, and I'll check in tomorrow. And just to reiterate, in the future, I will try to keep this much shorter. I just feel like these first two, maybe three, I don't know, logs, I'm just trying to catch up on stuff that's happening. But yeah, this will quickly turn into like just a daily updates. And I guess that's basically it. Bye-bye. Let's try again. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.